Today, I want to talk about when children are not living up to their full potential. Children are great by their very nature, and we have the privilege and responsibility of raising them. It can be challenging at times. Let's talk about it. Hi, I'm Cynthia Armstrong. I'm a general and special education teacher. I homeschooled my own children for 5 years. The things I talk about are the things that became important to me as I studied in school and then as I researched on my own to find solutions for the struggles that I was having, my children and my students. Today, I want to talk about when children are not living up to their full potential. And this topic is one that I struggled with and became a huge eye opener for me. And in order to help understand this, I'm going to use myself as an example. There are some nuances and some things that our brain sometimes tries to avoid that could really help us to help our children when they're not living up to their full potential. And some of you might go, oh, that's not what I'm doing. That's not my problem. That's not why my children are struggling to live to their full potential because, I have something else going on. But my sharing my example is just that. It is one example out of many. But if you could see mine and then translate it into your life, then that could help you to find the patterns that are perhaps increasing your child's struggle in not reaching their full potential. So when my children were teenagers, I was really noticing that they were struggling. My daughter had struggled some, but she had found a way to overcome many parts of it so that outwardly she seemed like things were pretty good. They weren't necessarily perfect, but they were pretty good. And then with my son, his struggles were very noticeable externally, and in school, in social life, in work, in many of these areas, I could see that struggle, and that he didn't have skills to really overcome those. And so I felt like I wasn't able to help him. I didn't know what else to do to help him. And so when I ran into somebody that, like, this really sounds interesting to me. Can you help my son? And he says, oh, well, of course I can help your son. But if I'm to help your son, then I really want you to learn this. Like if I'm going to help your son, then you get to come and learn this as well. And he knew then, what I maybe knew, but wasn't necessarily in the front of my mind, that we can't teach children things that we don't have. And you might say, oh, but I'm successful. Maybe you are, maybe you aren't. So maybe that first goes, you're right, I don't have that, but I want that for my children. Or maybe you're going, but I'm successful. I did well in school. And I was a person who did well in school. And so why is my son struggling? And when our child is struggling, it's not because necessarily that, because I did well in school, then I should be able to teach my son how to do well in school. But it's, I did well in school. Why did I do well in school? And so it's not about, oh, doing the well in school, but why I did well in school, and being able to see those pieces and some of those littler pieces that have nothing to do with the outcome of having good grades, that really made the difference. So for me, one of the things that as a parent I used my children for was, to feel good about myself. And one way that I did that, and that doesn't mean it's your way, but please look and see what your way may be. One way that I did it was always being right. And of course, I wasn't right 100% of the time, but I was right so often that that my children are like, oh, mom knows, and I say, okay, this is what's going to happen. If they're making a choice or um, anything like that, I might say, you could do that, or da 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 da, do it this way because I know what the outcome will be. And in my mind, I'm going, I'm helping my children there so that they can, do better, so they can exceed, so they can make those choices that would, most benefit them. And that's really where I was in my head. And so um, once I saw my children struggling, and once I met this person, he became my mentor, Lamont Wilcox. He was able to teach me things about my brain and about life that totally shifted how I was thinking. And so, and then I could see that, oh, look, me being right and me telling my children, well, you could do that. And I always gave them a choice. And then they would often make a different choice. Children, they don't always like to listen to us, especially when I'm presenting this. I'm right, and I wasn't meaning to, but that's what I was doing. And so, you should listen to me. And um, so that when they chose something opposite, it was like, I told you, aren't you pretty miserable right now? But what that did, that long view of what that did was, it took away their opportunity to learn to make mistakes, to overcome them, to that it was okay to do that, to have mistakes, to not always do it right, and to feel like, oh, I'm a capable person. I can make decisions. They can be wrong decisions, and I'll still come out at the end. It became mom's right. I need somebody externally to help me make a decision, to tell me what to do, I mean, and that's not in every little aspect of their life. They can totally choose the clothes they wear, but in those important decisions that really help children to fulfill their potential, I had taken that opportunity to learn away, and I wasn't even aware that I was using that to feel okay about myself, and I was unaware of what the long-term consequences were. And sometimes we get stuck there, that we want this for our children so badly that we take away those opportunities for them to realize their own potential, and that they're capable of learning, of overcoming, and things like that. And again, that one was my situation. But if you look and you look at, say, this good thing, because I felt like I was doing something really beneficial and good for my children in doing this. But it wasn't until they started growing older and I was going like, why aren't they doing this? Why can't they feel confident? Why aren't they fulfilling that potential, that I was able to see, oh, I had played like a really big part in that. Sorry. And then not to feel super bad about it, because our children can take on that too. If I start going, oh, I just ruined my children, and all this stuff, like, oh, I can't believe it, I'm such a terrible mom. then what energy is my children going to pick up then? Oh, that they're broken, that they're ruined, that all of these things, because like now I'm feeling bad, and please make me feel good by becoming the person that I want you to be. And so it can be like really tricky, which is why I wanted to use myself as that example, just to maybe help you to begin to look and say, what am I doing that I think is benefiting my children, but in reality, it's taking away an opportunity to learn about themselves and to realize their own potential. And there's lots of possibilities out there. So I hope this just opened your eyes to, again, being willing to take a closer look, and to be willing to see that doesn't make us bad parents. That just means that we were doing the best we could with what we had at the moment. And as we get more, then we can do more for our children. And it actually ends up doing more for us when I no longer needed my children to give me that sense of, I'm doing a good job, or I'm all right, or that uniqueness in me. Then that allowed them to reach out for their full potential. And I did that myself by, wow. I mean, I had some struggles. I mean, my parents weren't perfect, and I'm so grateful for the things that they gave me to overcome, so that I can become who I am. And I laugh sometimes with my children and going, yep, that's what I'm giving you an opportunity to overcome. you uh, Admitting that, yep, I wasn't perfect. Yep, I did cause some, programs or some thought patterns that they get to overcome. But how great is it that they have that to overcome, so that they can step into their full potential. And remember that we have that privilege, that opportunity to raise these kids that are great by their very natures. And it's our responsibility to teach them and to raise them. And I will see you in another episode. Hi friends, Cynthia Armstrong here. Thanks for joining us today. Please make sure that you subscribe to our channel so you can see when new videos come out, and like this one. It is such a responsibility and a challenge to raise great kids, and we are here to help you along that journey to make it as enjoyable and fun and fulfilling as possible. Please check out our website, www.raisinggreatkids.net, and I will leave that in the description below.